All right, good afternoon, everybody. Today I'm going to be talking briefly about my uncle Melvin, or Mel, as my family called him growing up. So, just a little briefly about his life, and you'll see why I decided to talk about him. So, he was born on February 9th, 1922, in Kansas City, and was raised with two brothers. So, my mom's dad, my grandfather, and another brother. As World War II came along, he decided to join the Navy. And he was going to join in the hospital corps of the Navy. And eventually he applied to be an officer in 1944. As it turns out, my Uncle Mel was gay. And his partner, whom was also in the Navy at the time, living in New Orleans, communicated discreetly with him for a couple years when they were both in the Navy. And in 1944, he was sitting in officer class or school in Charleston, South Carolina, and he was pulled out by the military police and just discharged on the spot for being gay, and was given a dishonorable discharge for being undesirable is the term they used. So we're gonna get back to that in a moment, but just to show how his life changed after that, he moved to New York City at that time, and he went to the Parsons School of Design. And then for the next 40 years of his life, he worked as an interior designer for a ton of people in New York, and eventually independently, and went on to have work featured in like the New York Times, Town and Country, Architectural Digest, a ton of magazines. And in 1993, I believe it was, he was inducted into the Interior Designers Hall of Fame, actually. And that was the portion of his life that I knew the most about growing up. He didn't really talk about his time in his 20s and in the Navy. So in the late 90s and early 2000s, as he was getting older, he decided to pursue legal action against the Department of Justice, or Department of Defense, to have his status changed from dishonorable to honorable. He was unsuccessful a couple times, and eventually, in 2011, he had his discharge status changed to honorable, and that helped him to receive a bunch of benefits and whatnot. And the main important reason, other than personally for him for that, was that he was the first World War II veteran to have his discharge status changed from undesirable to honorable for being gay. After that point in time, he passed away in 2016, and before that, there was a documentary made about him and about the interesting track his life took and the path he kind of paved for LGBTQ veterans to have their benefits changed, or their discharge status changed from their time serving in World War II or Vietnam or whatnot. So with all that said, I hope you feel like you know a bit more about him and the great man that I thought he was and that I wish I could have known better. So thank you.